Josh Heupel said that he doesn't know if Cam Seldon will be available in the fall. Tennessee lost Jabari Small and Jalen Wright to the NFL. They didn't add a running back in the portal in December, and they're not going to add one in the spring. They have Dylan Sampson, who is an all-purpose back, can't be a feature back. Khalifa Keith, your physical kind of goal line back. And Deshaun Bishop, who, again, I don't think they expect to get much out of Deshaun Bishop in general.
Actually a walk-on.
So everything, all of their eggs are in the basket of either Cam Seldon being healthy and actually being able to see the field, which I question, or Peyton Lewis, who was out in the spring because of injuries, working out as a freshman. I think this is a huge concern for Tennessee because, well, let me step back. It's not a huge concern in the sense of I don't think that the running backs have to be that special in Tennessee's system to be that good. But I think you need at least one running back who can pick up pass pro and who is athletic in open space. Khalifa Keith probably can do pass pro. He's physical enough, but he's not athletic in open space. Dylan Sampson is athletic in open space and can't pass pro to save his life. So you need Peyton Lewis or Cam Seldon or Deshaun Bishop to work out. Assuming Deshaun Bishop's not going to work out, putting a lot of eggs in Peyton Lewis's and Cam Seldon's baskets. And Lewis was hurt. You don't know what you're going to get with him at all. Seldon now may not go. And Seldon, I don't think is that good when he does go because he has vision issues, which is the other only thing you have to have in playing in Josh Heupel's offense. So I think not adding a running back is a really big concern for Tennessee in the portal. I think they could have added just a basic average running back and been effective, but they didn't add a basic average running back.
So let's be real clear. You're not out there looking for the 5-star transfer prospect. You're just looking for a body.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I think a body can work out in this system at running back.
I agree. And given that, I'm actually going to agree with you that it was an oversight. I don't think it wasn't an oversight. They didn't forget to recruit a running back, but it was their decision not to take one. The only argument that I could have that they wouldn't take one and just get the live body, so to speak, is that they're either out of scholarships, which isn't the case because they would have run somebody off to make room for one, or they are so confident in Peyton Lewis and Cam Seldon and what they have with Dylan Sampson. If none of those guys gets injured, then Seldon and Lewis are at very least dudes. They might not be Jamal Lewis's in year one, but they'll be dudes. And Dylan Sampson will be your special player. So if 0 injuries, I got no problem. But you and I both know injuries happen at running back.
Yes, and they need a feature back. They're putting their eggs in either Seldon or Lewis to be that. Both are hurt. I mean, both of them are hurt right now. And again, you're right. You can just be a dude or a body. But I say that people are going to call me inconsistent because I said you can be a dude or a body in Josh Heupel's system. So then why don't you believe in Seldon or Lewis? Because even though you can be just a dude or body, there's also, you would agree, if you're just a body, there's still a base level of talent you have to have, right? A base level of ability.
Right. You're just talking about having 13 eggs instead of 12 eggs.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you're not saying one egg's better than the other. I would certainly rather risk my running back future on a completely healthy player that transferred from another school as opposed to a banged up guy, unless I know innately and inside information just how hurt he is, just how much it will affect him down the road. So I don't yet have a problem with it, but if there's one injury, you've got a problem.
Well, because you don't know if Peyton Lewis or Cam Seldon can meet the minimum base level of being able to play in Josh Heupel's system. Again, there's not a Jamal Lewis necessary because Josh Heupel can turn average guys into looking like Jamal Lewis sometimes because of his system. But there's a base level. I don't know if Peyton Lewis has it. I haven't seen it. Dave, I don't think Cam Seldon has it because Cam Seldon's vision is so god awful that again, I don't even think he can meet the base level in Josh Heupel's system. So with that in mind,
vision is not, it's some innate, but it's not completely innate. You can learn keys, and he could end up being a good tailback. It's not like saying a guy can only throw the ball 20 yards at quarterback.
True, but I think this type of vision can be a little bit innate, because the one instinct you do have to have some instinctual vision in Heupel's system, because it's, remember, you don't have slow developing counter plays or run plays in this system. It's, you got to hit the hole immediately, right?
Yeah,
you have to hit it.
Options.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't the best example. Remember the 2001 team that was so good with Travis Stevens? That was almost all their running plays were a little bit slow developing, weren't they? And then Stevens would cut, because it was a cut and run system, basically. You're not doing that here. It's a draw. I mean, it's a handoff out of the shotgun, and you got to find the hole immediately and go. That is innate, honestly. And and if you don't have it, I don't think you're going to have it, quite honestly. And so I just don't think Cam Seldon has it.
You know what's, I think, stun you? I would argue Jamal Lewis didn't have elite vision, that he ran over people because he was bigger and faster than them. What if Cam Seldon is that guy?
Different. That, again, those running plays could be slow developing, so Lewis had a little bit more time to figure out, to find the hole. You have to think a lot quicker to hit the hole in Josh Heupel's system. Jamal Lewis, I know he didn't have elite vision, because the Florida game in 99, the toss sweep to Jamal on 4th and 3, go back and look at it. If Jamal doesn't cut inside, he gets that first down. But he cut inside instead of running to the outside where he should have. So I agree with you about that. But again, isn't it fair to say that run plays were a lot more slow developing under Fulmer and David Cutcliffe in that time period?
Yes, there's more pulling. That there was a lot more movement on the offensive line, as far as pulling them around deep. The question I have is, if 100% healthy, which nobody's 100% healthy by November, but if 100% healthy, no significant injuries, are you good with this group, or are you still ignorant? And I don't mean ignorant as dumb. I mean, we just don't know how good Peyton Lewis is or Cam Seldon is. I will admit that I'm ignorant, that I've seen enough and I know enough that I have an outside view of them, but I can't tell sometimes if people are telling me the absolute truth or they're telling me what they want to believe. So I've got a really good feel for every other position on the team, but running back, I'm not so sure. How big of a mistake did Jabari Small make? Caleb, brought to you by the Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online, with a wide variety, great selection, and strict standards to ensure you only receive the best in CBD or Delta products. Go to hemphousechatwith2ts.com, hemphousechatwith2ts.com. Use the promo code HOOKED, that's HOOKED, for 10% off. A 1-2 punch with Dylan Sampson and Jabari Small would be pretty darn awesome for the Vols right now. And I don't think Jabari Small is great. He would be the compliment. Don't get me wrong.
No, but Jabari Small is.
Go ahead.
Jabari Small is what I talked about. Just base level of skill, and he can pass, bro. He's got quick vision, and he's got base level of athleticism. Yeah. He made a mistake. Now I understand his frustration. Maybe
his
because
frustration was Jalen Wright passed him, and he felt, based off source, that it was unfair and that he could have done the very same thing that Jalen Wright did. Now, you and I watched those two backs, and we know that that's not really true.
That's not the case at all. I think partially, here's where sometimes I try to, and normally I'm not this fair to athletes, but to try to get in the mind of Jabari Small. You talk about a guy that, my understanding of Jabari Small, he went above and beyond with his work ethic to do what needed to be to do what he needed to do. And he picked up every pass block. He took care of the football. I get the feeling, Dave, where you're the hardest worker on the team. You get the starting job and you're still the hardest worker, but then you lose your starting job to a guy who unfortunately is just more athletic than you. And there's nothing you can do about it. I get the frustration.
The only reason Jalen Wright wasn't the guy the year before is because he had some fumbling issues.
Because he was hurt in spring camp and fall camp.
Right. It just goes to show you that families make the worst decisions for these guys, of say, go on to the NFL. Sometimes the kids still make a very poor decision as well. Maybe it was on him. Maybe he needed the money, whatever the money might be, a few $100,000 in the NFL, that can be game-changing money to a lot of people. But I completely agree with Travis. Small would have been the man this year.
There's another factor to this. Let's be fair to Jabari Small. I don't think Jabari Small thought Tennessee wasn't going. I think Jabari Small thought Tennessee was going to take another running back in the portal to beat him out. And I don't think he wanted to take that chance because I don't think Jabari Small wanted to be. I'll give you an example of a great guy, by the way, Jabari Davis. Remember Jabari Davis stayed at Tennessee and was a reliable running back filling in for Cedric Houston in 2002 and 2003. What happens in 2004? Cedric Houston stays healthy. Gerald Riggs emerges. Jabari Davis is kind of pushed behind both of them. And
but it was going to happen anyway. The more talented,
which is why he should have left. Jabari Davis should have left early for the pros in 2003. He might have had a chance to sign with the team. And I mean, maybe that was Jabari Small's thinking. What happens? Hindsight's 2020. What happens, Dave, if you're Jabari Small? You decide to stay at Tennessee, and they go pick a 5-star running back out of the transfer portal, and then you're not starting at all next year. You even further kill your NFL stock.
No, you don't want to be the second string running back on your own team when you're headed into the NFL draft, but he just needed to be realistic. I mean, and Caleb, I wonder too if Josh Heupel ran out of NIL money. I mean, I don't know what Cooper Mays got, but I know the minimum's $950,000 in the NFL, so you would think it would have to be comparable. And by comparable, I mean 6 digits. I'm not talking $750,000, but you would think 6 digits. If you really wanted Jabari Small, couldn't you make a couple of phone calls and get those 6 digits together?
Probably, but I think Jabari Small was going to take his chances in the NFL for generational wealth. And by the way, he landed with an incompetent organization. So even if he's not that good, he still might get a big contract later down the road because, the Titans don't know what they're doing. There, I got my shot at the Titans then.
I don't know that he won't be a decent player in the NFL. I hope he will, because I always feel bad for these guys that make an early jump and it bites them. And when it bites you in the NFL draft in the night when you've got all your family around watching to see where you get drafted. He should have made Jacob Warren's decision. Jacob Warren came back. He didn't get drafted, but he's such an intelligent guy. He looked at it and he said, I can make X coming back for sure, or I may be able to make 950. But if I don't make a team, I lose out on a year of football. You've only got so much football in your life, Caleb.
Jacob Warren knew.
How many carries do you think Jabari Small will get next year?
Oh, probably none. He'll probably be on the reserve squad.
Okay. How much would you have gotten from Tennessee?
Oh, I'm sure he would have been the feature back. So I'm doing the math in my head. I mean, I'm thinking, what's 15 times,
carries?
I mean, I'm thinking 100. I'm thinking he'd be approaching 200 carries at Tennessee this year.
Yeah.
Now, but Dave, again, this is hindsight. Jacob Warren knew for a verifiable fact he was going to be a starting tight end in coming back for 2023. Jabari Small had every reason in the world to believe that Tennessee was going to take a running back out of the portal and nudge him out because they wanted somebody better because he had just lost his job. I think Jabari Small, if he knew what he knows,
wait a second. You think he was really scared about somebody that he didn't even know that could come in and take his job? Okay, well,
yes.
That's the most insecure decision you could possibly make. If you don't have enough confidence in yourself, or you're worried about something that you can't control. Now, it's one thing if Jalen Wright was coming back another year, but this is set up for him.
But Jabari Small just saw the coaches nudge him behind Jalen Wright. He probably thought they were going to get somebody else in the portal, and so in his mind, he's probably thinking, I got to sign with an NFL team now. My stock will even tank further the next year because they're going to not play me. He probably, and look, if Jabari Small knew what he knows now, he would have come back. He wishes he would be at Tennessee.
Caleb, you're going old school. This isn't old school. He could get paid at Tennessee. I mean, it could hurt your draft.
He could get paid 1 year versus multiple years.
But his draft evaluation had to say late rounds free agent. So he could have gotten paid from Tennessee probably as much or more than he's going to get paid from the NFL because he wasn't drafted.
Yes, but if you get into the NFL, you got a chance at some point down the road to sign a contract. If Jabari Small stayed at Tennessee in 2023 or 2024 and he got nudged as a backup running back again, no NFL team would have even given him a shot in 2025. And
Okay.
that's the difference.
All right. Let's circle it back around. I think you're going to be judged ultimately on your running ability. So I disagree with getting nudged down. I mean, Travis Henry was a second stringer to Jamal Lewis, and that worked out. But
he got lucky.
Well, yeah, probably did get lucky. But this makes me wonder if Jabari Small thinks that Peyton Lewis and Cam Seldon are special. If you look at it and you say those two guys are as good or better than me, suddenly 3 guys. Now, I'll back you on that. If you're behind 3 guys, then you're not an NFL back. But he wouldn't have been behind 3 guys, I don't believe.
He might have been behind Peyton Lewis, so that's a good one. I didn't even think about that. I don't think he would have been behind Cam Seldon, but I think he would have been behind Peyton Lewis. And because I'm pretty high on Peyton Lewis, too, the player. So
I was also told there was some hurt feelings. There was maybe some distrust along the way. I'm not blaming anybody. You can have a miscommunication, but I think there were some emotions involved. I think when he hung up his Tennessee helmet for the last time, he knew it was the last time before he even got his draft evaluation. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I think that's probably true. And before anybody judges Jabari Small on that, I got a name for you, Johnny Majors. Look at how he handled being let go by Tennessee. It was, this, Dave. He spent 10 years just taking shots at the program out of bitterness.
Yep.
And so if coaches can do that, players can.
Now, some guys that could help those running backs are Tennessee's wide receivers. Let me see who asked that. Carlos said, how's our wide receiver group talent-wise? So shared that with Carlos, because I think Tennessee's receivers can help open up running lanes tremendously. Remind you that Ray Varner Ford is local. You can trust them. Innovation you can afford. RayVarnerFord.com. RayVarnerFord.com. The receivers should help open things up, right? They're good to really good.
Yes, and for those who aren't listening yesterday, Jimmy Hyams, who is very reserved on Tennessee, disagreed with Josh Heupel, saying they were deeper than they've been since he's been there, but did acknowledge that Tennessee's deeper at receiver than they've been since he's been there. And I think Tennessee is loaded with receiver. They should help open things up. And for those questioning the receiver play last year, there's a glaring elephant in the room about why the receiver play took a dip last year. And I think that glaring elephant in the room is not going to be there this year. And so I think that the receivers and the quarterback delivering them the ball can open things up for the running game. But that's always the way Heupel's offense works. The question is, can the run game, the run game is still key, though, because of the vision that's necessary to hit those holes and the pass pro. And again, this was Dylan Sampson's problem in the Citrus Bowl. Guys, as good as Nico Iamaleava played, he probably missed maybe 3 more amazing passes because Dylan Sampson kept missing on blocks. And I don't care how good the receivers are. If Dylan Sampson's going to whiff on blocks, or if Cam Seldon's not going to be able to see the hole, well, that's going to totally mess up the offense, because those big plays that you love in Josh Heupel's offense, and Dave, you know this, they're not there if Josh Heupel doesn't stay committed to the run game first.
Very fair.